Scaling trusted AI for 8 billion plus people. Right at the beginning of this session, we'll be having a photo opportunity. So to all the panelists and keynote speakers, please be seated on the chairs which are right here. I can see Dr. Mukesh Aghi, Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft, Bipul Sinha, Umesh Sachdev and Aparna Bava. Please be seated here. We'll take a photograph first before we start. Vipul, please be seated. We are waiting for Umesh Sachdev, CEO and co-founder of Unifor, will be joining me any moment. And then we plan to start this conversation. The best part of a packed hall, Dr. Aghi, is that it's an audience which is here to listen to all of you. And there'll be multiple takeaways. And perhaps we'll also open the house for a few questions, because these are AI enthusiasts, young entrepreneurs, who are looking at this domain with a lot of curiosity and with a lot of innovation at the same time, innovation ideas. That's going to be the big takeaway of this India AI Summit that is being held in Bharat Mandapam. As we wait for Umesh Sachdev to join us, should we, Astik? Yeah. So should we have the photo opportunity first, or how do you want to, yeah? Okay. So let's have, okay, Umesh is here as well. Umesh, please join us. Let's have the photo opportunity and then we begin the entire conversation. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this US-India Strategic Partnership Forum panel on scaling trusted AI for 8 billion plus people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living through a once-in-a-century technological inflection point. AI is no longer a lab experiment, a boardroom buzzword, or a chatbot on your phone. It is fast becoming what is being seen as perhaps the operating system of our economies, our institutions, and our societies. So the real question before us today is not whether AI will scale, because it will and it already has. The question is, can we scale trusted AI? The emphasis is on the word trust and AI for 8 billion people globally. This is both a challenge and the opportunity. And as AI reshapes education, healthcare, agriculture, finance, national security, and the future of work, the stakes could not be higher. That's why trust without access is meaningless. The next billion innovators may not sit in Silicon Valley or Bengaluru's tech parks. It may come from small towns, from where I come, from where Vipul Sinha is from, or classrooms or farms or startups we haven't yet imagined. So welcome to this special conversation, and to set the stage and context, may I please invite Dr. Mukesh Aghi, President and CEO of USISPF. Dr. Aghi has over 20 years of success in powering business expansion globally. He's a recipient of JRD Tata Leadership Award and the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award. He advises Fortune 500 CEOs globally and is a distinguished thought leader on US-India strategic relations. Dr. Aghi, welcome. Please go ahead.
Well, good afternoon. I know we have a time of 40 minutes for all the panelists and the Q&A. Let me welcome you to this session, Scaling the Trusted AI for 8 billion people. One question which we don't need to ponder on, that is AI is going to be pervasive, is going to impact you in every aspect of life, from education to healthcare to transportation, what you buy, what you sell. So that's a given. The question you have to ask is will AI percolate down and create an environment which is equal? When I use the word equal, will there be a feudal system, if we don't address this now, coming in the AI where few are controlling the trends, the power of AI? So I think from that perspective, we have to look at how we can bring this to 8 billion people and plus more moving forward. We do have very eminent speaker. You have Brad Smith, Vice Chairman of Microsoft, who has taken the lead thinking in this arena itself. And then we have basically Aparna from Zoom. We have Umesh driving Unifor, again, one of the agentic AI companies, and Bipul with Rubrik itself. And we're delighted they could join us. But the question we still have to ask is what direction AI will go. It's not about just trust. It's about who controls it and how it benefits the rest of the society. So welcome and look forward to that conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Agi. I now invite Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft, to deliver the keynote address. Brad Smith joined Microsoft in 1993, and he leads a team of roughly 2,000 professionals located in 54 countries and operating in more than 120 nations. The New York Times has called Brad Smith a de facto ambassador for the technology industry at large. The Australian Financial Review has described him as one of the technology industry's most respected figures. Brad Smith, welcome.
Well, thank you. I think I'll just stand for my 8 minutes. And first, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I have 8 minutes to talk about how we're going to reach 8 billion people. 1 billion people per minute. And of course, when I look out and see all of you, and I know that you hear that I joined Microsoft in 1993, I know that there are people here who were not born in 1993. I have been coming to India for many years, so at least for some of you, I was in India before you. I want you to know that. But let's talk about the challenge we face. Because AI is either going to close the great divides that exist in the world, or it will make those divides even wider. And I think that is the reality we must confront head on. In a sense, the great story of generative AI only began 3 years and 3 months ago when ChatGPT was released. We're in the early years. But I would say that these early years are not altogether going well. Our AI diffusion report showed that at the end of 2025, 25% of the global north, the working age population there, is using AI, but only 14% in the global south, 25 to 14. That is the new divide. And it's getting worse, not better. In the second half of 2025, the growth rate in the north was 1.8%, but in the south, only 1.0%. The first thing I would say is we have to address this with urgency. When you look out at the world today, what is the greatest divide that exists on our planet? I would argue it is the economic divide between the global north and the global south. And what we should recognize is that that divide, in my opinion, was fundamentally created by unequal access to technology, specifically electricity. The great general purpose technology that for more than a century drove industrialization and prosperity across the global north before it really took off in the global south. We run the risk of repeating that, and we cannot afford to do so. Now, I will say on the other hand, if we can do better, and we should, this may be the best opportunity in the 21st century for the Global South to catch up and have catch-up economic growth. So how do we build a better future? Well, it starts by bringing the infrastructure to the Global South that the Global South needs. That means data centers, it means connectivity, and it means electricity, and it means all three of them together. That's why Satya Nadella, when he was here in December, announced that Microsoft would be spending $17 billion here in India. It's why this morning we showed that we're on pace to spend $50 billion by the end of the decade in the Global South, bringing AI here. That's not nearly going to be enough. We need to harness private capital. We need to harness public capital. We need to generate demand that will unleash more capital to build the infrastructure that the Global South needs. That is job one. But if all we do is job one, then our task will be woefully incomplete. So there's other things we need to work on as well. The most important of which is skilling. History shows that major technologies that transform economies are fundamentally dependent on spreading the skills across the economy needed to put them to use. That happened for computers. In computer science, it's what enabled India to build such an important software industry. We need to bring AI skills to the Global South, and India is, I think, a focal point for this activity. It's why last year we announced at Microsoft that we would bring AI skills to 20 million people across India. It's why this week, through Microsoft Elevate, we're launching a new program to bring skills to 2 million educators so that they can then bring those skills to their students. So infrastructure and skills get us started, but they don't ensure trust. How do we do that? Well, I would say it's three additional things. First, we have to make sure that AI works as well in every language as it does in English, and today it does not. That's why one of the steps that I think you're seeing this week, including a step that we're supporting, is all about providing better support for multilingual model capability. Investing upstream in more data and data sets, investing to improve tools that will work in multiple languages, investing in content provenance so that they reflect the linguistic diversity of the world. Multilingual capability, that's essential. A second thing is to do more and to do better to ensure that AI solves the practical problems and real-world needs across the Global South. Ultimately, it is the applications layer that will best stimulate demand for every layer of the stack. And here, too, I think we're seeing important steps this week. Microsoft is joining others, including across Africa and in South Asia, to address food insecurity, to provide better forecasting to prevent famine, to strengthen agricultural productivity. That is just one of the thousands of real-world needs that we can address. And finally, we need to ensure responsible AI. That's why the steps being taken here at this summit this week are important, steps that help continue to nudge the world to better global governance. And ultimately, I think for all of us to remember that even while governments debate whether to adopt laws, even while governments disagree about what kinds of laws they want to adopt, every day, every one of us who works in any company that is building AI can always keep in mind, we don't need a law to enable us to do what we know is right. We need to protect children as a world of AI takes off. We need to think about the future of work and jobs. In short, to earn the world's trust, we have a lot of work to do. And the only way to do it is to build on that one word that is part of this organization's name and this event, partnership. We need to work together. Certainly on behalf of Microsoft, we are excited to be part of this effort to be here with all of you to take steps this week and close the AI divide. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Smith. You actually summed it up quite well in 8 minutes, how to scale it up. So we'll try and make this session a little different. The highlight certainly would be you, the audience, who'll be asking questions to the panelists, because we'll try and make it more interactive, and I'm going to also ensure that the mic reaches you. Astik, the mic has to reach the audience. We'll be opening the floor to questions after I've asked one question each to everyone who are here. Vipul Sinha, CEO and chairman and co-founder of Rubrik, is an entrepreneur, engineer, venture capitalist. He's the CEO and chairman and co-founder of Rubrik. His story is fascinating, which begins from a small town in Dhanbad and goes straight to Silicon Valley. Then you have Aparna Baba. I'm particularly excited because you have another woman in the panel. So she gets the opening comments and also the closing comments. Aparna Baba is COO of Zoom. And Zoom, everybody knows, and you use it as much. We have Umesh Sachdev, CEO and co-founder of Unifor. It is one of the world's largest AI native end-to-end AI and data platform companies. Let's begin with you, Aparna. The opening comment. You have more than 8 minutes in all, but you can talk about the scalable AI and the fact, the emphasis that we have been saying about trusting AI so that the digital divide is reduced.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been thinking about this question so much. Actually, by the way, I'm also Indian. I'm South Indian. I'm Tamilian. You wouldn't know that from my last name, Bawa. My maiden name is Srinivasan. So I didn't come from a small town, just Bangalore. But, it's nice to be back in India. Every time I come here, I get off the plane and I look like everybody else. It's wonderful. I love it. And I feel so much at home, even though my family will tell me my Hindi and my Tamil sucks. But, I'm working on it. Every day here, I get better. Okay. So, digital divide and how to bridge that gap. Well, at Zoom, something we have been focusing on, and actually when I was looking at the posters with Pradhan Mantri Modi on them and talking about this AI Action Summit, he is telling us that this is an inclusive summit and this is all about economic progress. And you could not have a company that is more aligned to inclusivity and economic progress, such as Zoom. Who are we? We enable my mother-in-law, who is 83, and I tell this story all over the place because she absolutely is a fact-based story. She absolutely uses Zoom all day long. She has the free account. I can't get her to upgrade. We also have Fortune 50 to 1 that uses Zoom. It's the same platform. And how do we do that? We do that because we're easy to use. And when we first started, we had this tagline, "It just works." You know that when you're on vacation in the mountains in India or you're working hard in some corner of the globe, that you can turn on any kind of Wi-Fi, any kind of network, and your video quality and your audio quality will be great. And you add that to AI. So you know us for meetings. You don't know that we're a full collaboration platform, perhaps. Maybe if you're an enterprise, you do. Underpinning that entire platform is a very strong AI backbone that is seamless. And so for us, using the same principles of design, how did it work? So our focus on our product designers is, our CEO and our founder says this, there can be no hidden logic. And what does that mean? That means you as a user should be able to use our product and not have to figure something out with a PhD degree. You should be like my mother-in-law and be able to troubleshoot herself and figure herself out when she gets kicked off of a call or whatever the case may be, or a meeting. You should, that design principle of no hidden logic. And when you translate that to AI, what did ChatGPT do when Brad Smith referenced ChatGPT? What did it do? It uses natural language to actually democratize AI so that anybody could pick it up and use it and get answers from it. And that is going to be the critical thing. How do we as technology players make it so easy to use that the billions and the billions of people who may not be that tech educated, that tech savvy, can pick it up, use it. You have small and medium-sized businesses, solopreneurs, all the way to giant companies like Lenskart and Bajaj and all of those folks that use Zoom today. How do you get them equally to be able to pick up AI, use it instantaneously, and drive productivity from it? And that, to me, is reaching every 8 billion person here in India and telling them that AI has a spot, or you have a spot within this AI infrastructure. And you can also drive economic progress for yourself. And by the way, that increases GDP for the country. So that would be my biggest pitch, is to make things super simple, super easy, and not forget that it has to be a full-scale technology.
Yes, so AI cannot be about a handful of tech giants. It has to be about AI for all, something Prime Minister Modi has been emphasizing on, democratizing AI and making it reach small towns of India. So, Vipul, in terms of the role, what do individuals have to do in order to be part of this AI, euphoria?
First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. I always like a standing room only. So good that we have a small room so that everybody is standing. The way I contextualize AI, if you look at the history of economic development, we went from agrarian economy into industrial economy, into knowledge economy, and then now we are entering a new economy, what I call intuition economy.
Okay.
Because everything that is knowledge and that is in the past, AI will actually operate on it, create workflows, and give you complete solution. So where do we fit in, human beings? We fit in to do intuition work, where we connect new dots that has not been connected yet. And then as soon as you connect new dots, then it becomes codified language and knowledge, and then AI will operate on it. What does it mean for us individuals? What we have to do is we need to understand and learn what AI is capable of. Good news is that a country such as India, and somebody like me who came from a small town where language is a barrier, I studied in Hindi, now you can speak to computer and program it in your own natural language. You don't need to learn typing, don't need to learn any C or C++ or Java as a language. You can program computer in English or in your own spoken language, and you can operate on it. But the question is that how do you create value as an individual? Now the world's knowledge is at your fingertips. As I often say, a kid growing up in Palo Alto has the same knowledge of the world as somebody growing up in Patna. So when you have a situation where the knowledge is no longer a barrier, how do you as an individual, using your own native language, program computer to envision a new world, to connect new dots? How do you become a solo entrepreneur where you can create products and services that you can deliver to your community, to your city, to your state, to your country? And most importantly, it is an amazingly enablement for everyone. If you are 40 years old and you didn't have a good education, doesn't mean that you can fall behind, because now you can program computer in your own language, understand how it responds, and create value out of it. And value creation is many, many things. If you look at India with 1.4 billion population, educational services is not consistent and uniform in every part of India. Healthcare is not consistent or uniform. Think about information, agriculture. There are just so many verticals, industry verticals, where you need to deliver products and services using AI. So I feel like it is an incredibly amazing opportunity for all of India to rise. The question is, do you have access to the factories of intelligence, which is the new data center? And with the government of India creating data center tax breaks and 150 billion investment, it is it will open up a lots of opportunities. I'm very excited.
Yes, so the fact here is that India is hosting, we are right here in Bharat Mandapam. The message is loud and clear. We are the voice of Global South, but we are also prepared to look for perhaps localized solutions to global challenges. It will be about us right here in New Delhi, in small towns of India, where the next big AI innovation will be coming from. Umesh?
So once again, great to be here. Thank you for the question. You introduced me and my company Unifor as one of the world's largest AI native data and AI platform. We are headquartered in Palo Alto. But for most people in this room who may not be aware, where was Unifor founded? In an incubation lab in IIT Madras.
Fantastic.
In 2008, when Gen AI wasn't a word and AI wasn't a word, two of us, my co-founders sitting in the front row, we were incubating an AI company out of India, which is now headquartered in Silicon Valley and serves 2,500 customers.
That's certainly a vision.
That's exactly the vision.
Yes.
I think our opportunity in India, we have to be very clear the role India wants to play in this AI ecosystem. At this moment, there are two countries which are running the race super hard, and India is not one of them. Those are US and China. Whether it's LLMs, whether it's GPUs, whether it's data centers, India's certainly woken up. This week is a great example. But India has an opportunity to be the third wheel in this race. And that will be India as a leader for AI diffusion, for adoption of AI, for applications of AI. I argue that, we talk about how will AI be trusted. Let's start by assuming it's already trusted. The same ChatGPT that a startup founder in Silicon Valley by the name Arvind, who creates Perplexity, has access to. The same model is available to everyone in this room. And it's what we make of it. The same model that Unifor uses is available to every startup founder, every developer in India. Now, yes, there will be servums, yes, there will be sovereign AIs coming up, but this is the moment to let 1,000 flowers bloom. When I go to Europe, I hear, this almost deafening sound about, regulation and the European Act. That is one way of stifling innovation right now. We haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even figured out what this technology can do for business, for individual, for consumer. And the way this technology is developing, it is unprecedented. There is no technology that has moved as fast as AI, which means our way of regulating should be reactive at that pace as opposed to worrying about it even before something good happens and then putting the brakes for 1.4 billion people. So I would say the opportunity is let there be the next 10,000 Unifors in the next 5 years, globally leading different areas of AI with applications, with adoption. For every one servum, local LLM, there should be 5,000 AI application companies. And that's how India will be in the top 3.
Okay, let's open the floor to questions. Please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, all. This is Vijay from CUTS International. It's a global public policy research advocacy organization. Is it not true that big tech companies from all across the world are trying to find out return on investment for their large language models, LLMs? And this scale, which Brad was also talking about, it can be found in all global South and emerging countries. It's not the case of a perfect marriage between the two. Yeah.
So the question of ROI in AI, who will take that? Anybody?
It is definitely something I would say that, and Bipul will probably agree with this, that your boards are asking all of us. We're not super huge. We're not a hyperscaler by any stretch of the imagination, but our board is asking this of us. And I know that the shareholders are going to eventually want to get paid for all this CapEx investment that is happening. So it's definitely a very fair question. I would say it's still in the nascent stage. When you have a burgeoning technology and you want to have people adopt, you definitely have to start thinking about ROI, building your models, but you also don't want to discourage uplift. And I think for now, for example, I'll tell you, we have, even within, the most difficult thing for a tech company is the technologists automatically gravitate towards this. But you have a good 50% of the rest of the folks who aren't technologists that need to make a company work. And by the way, they're also responsible for things like trust and safety, privacy, security. They're careful. They're just careful people. They don't necessarily want to turn on the AI and make it work. But you have to have a forward-leaning edge. You know that it's going to change your life, your company's world, even in some of these sectors where, sovereignty or protection of information is so important. And so it's very, very important that you have a forward-leaning edge. And I think we're still in that stage right now. There is a cognizance that right now, maybe it is difficult to prove the ROI, but in this sort of early stage, if you hang back, you might just be left behind.
Okay.
And I think that's something that is reflected in the rationale from boards and shareholders all across the world.
Dr. Agi, do you want to weigh in on this?
I think you have to look at the strategy is more about land grab. Basically, the more you put in and grab more land, the better chances you have that you won't get much competition coming through. In my opening comment, I use the word feudalism. What we are seeing is few companies will control both from the hardware perspective, both from a data center perspective, and an LLM perspective. And I think that's where the money is pouring in. You're building the walls so others can't come in. And I think that's where what Umesh and basically Bipul said, that the chance India has focus on is in the app side. Let's not miss that boat itself. We can't compete on the LLMs. We can't compete on the basically hardware side, but we have an opportunity, and that's where I think skilling is going to be very critical for the country to compete from that perspective.
I'm going to take 5 questions in all. So please, all of you, raise your hands. Sir, please pass on the mic.
While you're waiting though, but Mukesh, if for some reason someone could figure out how to make it much cheaper, that would be technology anybody would want. So all of you folks who are developers or thinking about how to do this better, that's the challenge.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. Excellent presentation made by all of them. Question I need to ask Dr. Mukesh ji, because he is the senior most man and most experienced on the board, that the AI race on the top already is on. As Umesh ji very rightly alluded to, that first 2 seats have already been reserved, US and China. India has already taken a leap of faith. This AI summit is, I think, testimony to that. Do you think, realistically speaking, beyond the leap of faith, does India deserve to be there, and will India reach there? And if you see India reaching there, how far are we there? Thank you.
Well, it's too early to put the white flag and say we're defeated. I think that'll be the wrong approach in the whole process. I think we have to work from the position of strength, and the strength comes from I would say the intellectual labor force the country has. When you look at, I was looking at data, by 2030, almost 20% of the world's digital workers will be out of India. And if we start focusing on the app side, apps which are basically innovating quick drug research, innovating in every aspect, I think that's where the solution and the lead will come in. Hardware will become the plumbing part, LLMs will become the plumbing part, the solutions will come from the app side. And I think that's where India has the opportunity. So I would not say India has lost the race. India has an opportunity to take the lead on the app side.
Okay, we'll combine the questions now. Please go ahead. One more. Yeah.
So last year I visited USA first time because of ASU plus GSP Summit. I got opportunity to meet Jennifer Doudna, who won 2020 Gene Editing Nobel Prize. The surprising thing is that in that one building, 18 Nobel laureates are seated. Okay. If we talk about history of USA, Europe, whatever the country, the base is science and a deep tech. So sir is telling that already we have accepted that we are on a third position or a whatever the way. So upcoming 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 year, but we have to do something in a science regarding mindset, regarding education. What is the change required for India? You all are aware about that particular ecosystem.
So pass on the mic to this girl as well. She can ask the second question. We'll take the two together. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is Sejal from AWE Funds. What I want to ask is about the safety. As you say that safety and privacy should be taken as second concern. But recently, Claude's safety officer resigned, saying world is in peril because of AI. So what are your comments and what are the precautions we should take to have a safety and privacy issues solved and not let the AI take over the world?
Okay. So yes. So Umesh, please, if you can respond.
So let me take the first question, and then maybe for safety, I can pass it on to Bipul from a security standpoint. I think there's a lot of talk this week about India being the AI application, AI adoption leader. There is a second area where India is already leading in AI, and I think we must not ignore it. There was a comment made of one single building with X number of Nobel laureates. If you think about all the leaders of those big tech companies or any number of AI companies, in the C-suite, the single most concentrated nationality is Indian Americans or Indian origin people. So India is and will be the biggest talent exporter for AI for the whole world. If we believe this technology will dominate for the next 2 to 3 decades, most of the talent needed, a large percentage of it will come from India, all right? Now, how do we take it to the masses? Jensen Huang of NVIDIA has said this, and many others have said this, that you shouldn't worry about your job being taken by AI. You should really worry about your job being taken by somebody who uses AI better than you. And I think that message, starting with this week, if that message starts to go to our tier 2, tier 3 towns, to every school, every student, that talent leadership that India has the opportunity, that will put us in the front. And I will, say one more thing. There was a comment made on ROI. There was a comment made on, not equal partnership between big tech and India. With all due respect, there's a reason Brad Smith is here this week. US big tech invested 150 billion last year. They need to generate at least 600 billion of revenue to make that capex investment worth it. All of those big tech know that unless this 1.4 billion population starts to adopt AI and use AI, their investment won't be met. And so we have power, we have leverage, let's not forget that.
Yes, so perhaps US and China may have taken the lead, but how long will they be on position 1 and 2? That is the question here. Please go ahead.
Regarding the safety question, the most important thing in AI is AI trust.
Yes.
So if you are, for example, delivering a healthcare service and person on the other side thinks that the person is talking to a doctor, AI doctor, but doctor is an attack or somewhere in the middle they are stealing personal information, then the digital trust go down. As a result, the AI will not be effective because people will not use it. Because if you have worried about your personal information getting stolen, you'll never going to start an app that delivers the healthcare service to you. So the digital and AI trust is going to be very important. But AI is a probabilistic technology. It will hallucinate. So how do you create guardrails? And this is what Rubric focuses on. So what we are doing is we are helping AI give you a deterministic answer by fine-tuning the model, by creating guardrail where if it goes beyond what it taught to, then we stop the action of agents, sometime undo the agentic action. Essentially making sure that you have trust in your AI system, and AI system is also delivering you information that is useful to you, even if it is trusted.
Okay. So, yes, please go ahead.
Greetings, everyone.
We are combining, sir.
So my question
why don't you
is-
be seated here, please?
Yeah, my question is basically that data is the currency for AI. All the LLMs require data. How can we ensure that there's equitable profit sharing to the people who are going to be giving data, which is the global south in general?
Yes, please. Pass on the mic to Yes, please. Go ahead.
So I'm Jainam. I'm a final year student from BITS Pilani. So I have a question for Bipul. So we have seen one crop of leaders rising to C-suite in big tech. Then we have seen another crop of US executives starting their own company. You are one of the prime examples, even Umesh. And now, I am entering the workforce now. So what advice you have to youngsters like us who are looking to contribute from India itself to this space? So what should we look forward? Yeah.
Okay. So Bipul and Aparna, both of you can take the two questions.
So, as a young individual who is graduating out of college, you have to first think about how do I create something as opposed to work somewhere. And creating something is all about starting a business, and it doesn't have to be a global tech business. Because if you look at 1.4 billion people in India, government job is not going to solve the problem, or joining some other MNC is not going to solve the problem. You got to create jobs, and you be the job creator. You be the dreamer who goes out there, starts companies, whether it's tech companies, non-tech companies, using AI, delivering agricultural services, doing something for your community, because you got to be a job creator. Umesh is a prime example. He has started now his global company from IT Madras Incubator. The dream of 2008 is now manifesting it as billions of dollars value company now in Silicon Valley. So you got to start somewhere. You got to dream big, and you need to take a risk, not dependent on joining an MNC.
So perhaps in 2015, I was reading that there was someone who believed in OpenAI much before we had heard about it. So someone having invested in OpenAI in 2015, you can imagine the dividends they would be earning now. Aparna, the question to the...
Yes, I think the question was about data.
Yes.
And sort of giving credit to the contributors of data who helped to train these models. That was the question.
The global south.
Yes.
The data is coming from the global south.
Well, I will tell you this. We have a different take on this because we have made a pledge to our customer base, including all of our users, that we are not going to use your data to train our models for our own benefit anyway. We don't train our models, period, with our customer data. And I think because of the realization for us that you all are having conversations, you're executing your workflows, you're getting things done on Zoom, and we are that trusted partner for you. So we have made, I would say we are very different than big tech in this way. We have made that drawn that line in the sand that we are not going to do this. And so, for example, nobody has had to tell us to do this. No regulator has had to tell us to do this, but we think it's the right thing to do. And I disagree a little bit with Brad Smith in the statement of sometimes, yes, you know what's wrong and right in the real world, but you somehow ignore it in the digital world. And this is going to be a place where you are going to have some sort of combination of self-discipline and regulation. Because in all honesty, I'm not sure that it's going to work simply, but I think India, with a framework that has been announced, has gotten it correct. If you hear the Prime Minister talk about this, it's innovation light or regulation light and really focusing on innovation and coming up with a framework that makes sense. And I think that is definitely something to be very positive about.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
And
I'm
going to take the questions, but let's welcome S. Krishnans, who is the Secretary of MeitY. He is the one who has planned this entire event, so he will know much about regulation, innovation, and the roadmap that India is setting for itself. Before he gives the concluding remarks, I'm going to take two more questions.
Maria, can I ask a question?
Yes, please, one quickly.
Thank you for great points made by Mukesh and Aparna. So in India, now we have a land of creators. Not everyone's going to the top institutions. We still have unicorns being created. But when it comes to AI, it's more about belief. As Maria mentioned, 2015, someone saw the spark in OpenAI, and it's only because of the dry powder, OpenAI is where it is today. Unfortunately, in India, we lack that dry powder. We have innovative startups, we lack funding. Now, with institutions like the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, Mukesh, how do you see bridging this gap? We've got a new fantastic ambassador who has come in, and there is tremendous talent which is available. How do you bridge the gap on
Dr.
creating
Agi,
innovation?
I'm going to club one more question. That's going to be the last one. Please hand over the mic to him.
Yeah, So, first of all, thank you for your talk. The first thing I would like to ask Sir's thought about what he said that we are not in LLM race. So, what does he think about what the Savam is doing and what other like Bharat GPT, etc. are doing?
Okay.
One more thing I would like to ask how those of us who are based outside India or study outside India, how can we contribute to whatever bridging the gap between what Indian tech ecosystem is or European tech ecosystem is? How can we act as a bridge for this?
Okay.
Thank you.
How do we ensure that the fragmented initiatives compete with each other, avoid it, and we can collaborate? They can collaborate and enhance their strength.
Okay, so we have had a wide range of questions and also across generations. So that's the beauty of this audience, Dr. Agi, who's asking questions, and they are also would be born in perhaps 2000 or 2002, 2004. So this generation, please go ahead.
Well, you look at almost, I would say, 30 years ago or 25 years ago, when you had the IITs and IIM graduates, 80% took jobs with MNCs, and they migrated. And if you look at today's batch graduating, I would say 80% are moving into doing startups or some kind of initiative. So there's a cultural shift which has taken place in the country. Risk-taking is accepted. Failure is not shameful anymore. It's okay to fail. And I think more important is to answer your question on the funding part. We are seeing a lot of investment coming in from the US companies. In fact, I was looking at the data, almost 90% of the funding at the moment is moving from the US institutions itself. And I think we need to leverage that more and more. Capital is much more easily available than in India. I mean, we look at the interest cost and everything. So I think we have to put a special initiative, and we'll work with the startup community. We do have a startup program where Umesh and Bipul were leading that, where we were helping Indian startup companies to come to the US, both from financing, legal, and market access perspective. So we're going to expand on that and see how we can support more and more startups.
Okay, so if you can pass on the mic, so I'll give 30 seconds to all the panelists, and the last word will be to the women. So Vipul and Umesh, you can go first. Please go ahead.
So last thing I'll say is, every inflection creates tremendous new opportunity because there is always some confusion in the marketplace. People are not thinking far ahead. They are just looking at the chaos of the creation. And this is the time to take leapfrog. That's the moment for India at this time, that how do you leverage this new technology to create unique products and services and be the job creator, not just the job taker in AI.
Okay.
So I'll expand that thread from Bipul on jobs. There's obviously a lot of talk these days about will AI take away jobs and Indian IT services, and people saying the death of BPO in 5 years, etc. At Unifor, we serve customers, thousands of customers globally, and here's what we get to see. From where we sit, AI is going to lead us to an age of abundance. The earnings of publicly traded companies are about to sharply rise, and GDPs of countries that adopt AI at scale are likely to sharply rise. Don't be surprised if you see a 6 print in front of the US GDP closely, and US is a very large economy. India's path to cross 10% growth GDP will be because of AI, and that path of abundance will actually create more jobs, not less. And all of us in this room have an opportunity to benefit and profit from that age of abundance. We just have to take the plunge, learn AI, apply AI, and like Bipul said, take risk and become job creators.
Okay, 30 seconds. Quickly, Aparna.
When I think of India, I think of a country with so many people that are willing to embrace new technology and willing to embrace new things. If you think about it, you just have to look at history. You think about it, we skipped over, in villages in India, we have skipped over the tablet and the computer and gone straight to the iPhone. when I was visiting family in India 2 years ago, I was extraordinarily surprised at how much prevalence even the simple cell phone has in remote corners of this country. Use that as an example. So why should India not embrace AI? And those billions of people, if you make it easy to use, if you get rid of a fancy UI and even just use natural language, we translate, for our AI companion, we translate currently into 4 languages. It should be all of the languages over time. If you can do that, and you guys are capable of doing that, if you can do that, why not? So I would not think of it as a race that's been taken over by 2 behemoth countries. The world is for you. It's to be taken.
Yes. So thank you so much. And please be with us. Let me give the closing comments to S. Krishnan. He is the Secretary of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Mr. Krishnan, wherever. And let me begin by congratulating the Government of India for organizing this Thought Summit and for all the efforts that you have put in ensuring that we get to hear from the best minds, from venture capitalists to top tech companies, and also startups and policymakers. So congratulations on behalf of the entire audience. Please, sir, go ahead.
Let me stand so that I can at least see the back of the audience. As I walked in, I was just asked, saying, was I getting enough sleep? And I was just joking with a colleague yesterday that right now, if you wake me up, I'll talk about AI and something about AI. I don't have to have a set of... But, I mean, come 21st, I'm going to take a sort of a break and say no AI at least for a month or 2. But on a more serious note, I think thank you first for all of you for coming out here for the AI Summit. A year ago, when the Prime Minister announced in Paris that we would be hosting this, the way we envisioned it was to actually make it more accessible and available to people. Because the idea, the whole intent of AI in India was about democratizing access to AI, access to the resources of AI, and making sure it's something that works for people. So just taking away from what Ms. Aparna Baba was just saying about, what is happening in India with regard to AI, the whole idea is that the way that India accesses the digital world is by the mobile phone, and many of them are not even going to type what they want. So it has to be voice first. And through Bhashini and through many of the other initiatives that we've led, today across 22 Indian languages and across many of the Indian dialects, it's possible to just speak into a phone and say, I want this. A farmer can actually speak into a phone saying, I have this problem in my field and can you tell me what the solution is? Or he can consult a doctor and say, this is my issue in his own language, and the doctor need not even know the language that he's speaking. It'll be translated for him, and the doctor can actually prescribe or respond based on what he sees in terms of the analysis of an X-ray or analysis of some other diagnostic report. So that is the kind of change that AI potentially can bring to India, a voice-first model which sort of works in multiple languages. And that's clearly how it needs to work. We are not a one-language country. Content in this country is in multiple languages, so the challenge really is to actually have enough data from all of these languages to make sure that we can train our models, which is one reason why we need a model of our own, and having a Western model or a model from outside the country doesn't necessarily work. And the second thing is that we are looking to see how AI will work for people. Ultimately, it's about inclusion and the kind of things that what works when applied to the real world, what works in the agriculture sector, what works for healthcare, what works for education, what works for manufacturing. And many of these need not be very large models. They could be small models, they need not be language models, they can even be quantitative models or vision models, and in multiple other ways that they can actually work. And that's precisely the kind of work that is going on right now. Somebody was asking a question about resources and the powder. I don't think the powder is so much the issue anymore. I think it is what we have attempted to do is democratize access to the resources or the infrastructure you need for AI, which is basically compute, models, and data. All three through the AI Kosh, we've attempted to ensure that people have access to. Today, you can access compute in India for about a third of the price that you can access anywhere else in the world, thanks to what we have done through the AI Kosh and the models. You have access already to 7,500 data sets. We are pushing that even higher. That's one of the challenges we have to solve often within government, where everyone thinks in silos, is unwilling to share. We have to break through that, and we are doing it. We had barely 300 data sets about 6 months ago. We have 7,500 now. We have to grow much faster. And the last set of things that we really need to do is also on, I already spoke about the models, but ultimately, India is going to be about applications and use cases. That's where the rubber literally hits the road. That's where the jobs get created. That's where actual benefit is delivered to people. And that is the space I think Indian companies and others will solve. You may not have coders and programmers, but you're going to have domain experts. You're going to have people who develop the applications. You're going to have people who have to actually go and deploy the applications in various organizations in different places, not just in India, but elsewhere in the world. In some ways, it's probably the Y2K moment all over again. So I would say that our embrace of AI is open-minded. Our embrace of AI is innovation first. Our embrace of AI is enough cause for optimism. We are going to lose far fewer jobs than the developed world is going to, if at all it's such a threat for jobs. But the opportunities to actually catch up in the development pathway and the opportunity to actually become a Viksit Bharat, a developed nation by 2047, is by riding this wave of technology. And that is something that India promises to embrace. And that's the reason all of you have come out here. That is the kind of energy we have tried to unleash through the event that has been organized. Previous summits have all been rooms where CEOs and national leaders and probably a few experts have spoken. These are rooms where we have invited everybody in. I'm really gratified to see that most of this audience is probably half my age, which is what we want and which is exactly where we want it to be. And not just here, but across in all the halls, this is the kind of energy we wanted to display. Previous summits probably had 20 or 30 stalls which kind of showed what was being done. We have 900 plus. We have nearly 1,000 startups showing you what they have attempted to do. This is energy for you. This is the people who are going to take over. This is engagement for you. These are the people who are going to make AI happen, not just for India, but for the world. Thank you all coming out here to see what we are up to and see what we are doing here. And thank you for your very eager participation. Minor inconveniences aside, traffic aside, and I apologize for the weather also today. But all that apart, I think thanks for coming out. It's been great having all of you here. And hopefully we have extended the expo by one more day. And those of you who haven't seen it, do take the chance to see it. Thank you again.
We certainly don't hold you responsible for the bad weather. Okay, so let's have a photo opportunity again. And thank you for being a great audience.